Hello, good morning. It's Pam here for our Thursday coffee chat and catch up. And I'm just gonna blab about things going on in my life, and you can listen if you want. And if you want to share what's going on with you, I would love to hear it. This can be a two-way conversation. So tell me something in the chat, what's going on with you. How was your week? How is your Thursday morning? It's kind of late morning here, and I had to reheat my coffee. My nice black coffee, and it's not nearly as good when you reheat it, is it? Well, look at me. I'm all smiles this morning. Who would have thought? And it's okay, because I know nobody wants to click on a video unless you're kind of maybe it's bit strange, bit odd, just saying. Nobody wants to click on a video where someone's like, in the dumps. But what's funny is I think that, and yet it's been proven that negative videos do much better than positive videos. And that just tells you everything you need to know about human nature, I guess. I get a kick out of people who insist that humans are inherently good. Because yes, we are good in that we are made in the image of God. But we learn to do the right thing, and we might be inherently kind, or our personality might be a certain way, but we are not inherently good. And the YouTube algorithm is all you need to know. So what am I getting at? Well, what I'm getting at is last night I was all done my music lessons. I said goodbye to the last sweet child, and I put the living room kind of back in living room mode, and relaxed, got my bowl of soup, and thought, I'm just gonna sit here and have supper, watch some YouTube. And I was just relieved and kind of like in this headspace where I didn't even know what day, what time it was. I was just exhausted. So that sets the stage. Then my phone dings. Ding. We need 2 more for the quorum. Can you get down here? Well, Dylan and I had totally forgotten about church meeting, annual general meeting that was last night. And it was already like 7:15, and it had started at 7. And I was like, okay, no. I was mad. And that was my first thought, was no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to be dictated to by my mother, who was the one texting me, or my father, or this church. Wow. Where did this frustration and anger come from? That's what I want to talk about today. What was going on with me? I don't really feel a shred of that anymore, but in the moment, in that time period where I was texting with her and getting telling my husband, we got to go, we're members, they need us there, we forgot about the meeting, we're terrible people. Get down there, walk in the door, quite late, and everybody kind of laughs and starts clapping for us. And I sat down, and my dear mother reached around and was trying to squeeze my knee and kind of laugh and joke with me, and I was livid. I couldn't even look at her, and I definitely couldn't squeeze her hand and smile and pretend everything was fine. I was PO'd. I had like a white hot rage just surging in me, and it was like that kind of rage that when you feel like if a wild animal attacked you, you would be able to just fight them off. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and stony faced. And eventually, the feeling went away. And I realized, oh my goodness, I have been such a fool. I love all these people. This is a wonderful meeting. The people chairing it were fabulous. There was nothing weird going on at this meeting. There's no angst. There was no, it was great. It was just fine. Everything went smoothly. And they were so happy that we had, we'd shown up so that they could make a decision on some policy stuff. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Why was I so mad? Have you ever had that? Have you ever had an unexplained anger just hit you out of nowhere? And I've lived long enough to know that when you feel that way, anger is a sign that something's wrong, right? It's kind of like a bruise or a pain point. If you got a bad headache, what's the underlying cause? What's under there? What is causing this pain in your body? What is causing this anger? And so I'm trying to figure out, what is it, excuse me, sorry, what is it in me that is unhealed, that's so mad? Oh man, I hate having to clear my throat, but that's just life. So I still haven't quite figured it out. Was it that I was being told what to do by my mom at the age of 51? Was it, the years of kind of having to just suck it up and do the right thing? Was it my state of exhaustion and being pulled from my relaxing evening? I don't know. But one thing that did strike me as I was sitting there trying to calm down was that I have had many, many years of very terrible church meetings where people said awful things. The first one I remember being really bad was I was 17 years old, and it was actually at this same church. And after that meeting, there was a big church split. After that meeting, the youth and assistant pastor, who everybody loved so much, left or was pushed out. I really lost my respect for the people in leadership, for the senior pastor, and then that was repeated over and over again throughout my life in different churches, different parts of the country. And just seeing the unbelievable level of immaturity in people who were supposed to be in leadership, congregants causing havoc for no good reason, people storming out, people airing their grievances, hurting each other, and just the stress. I've often had to share in meetings like that when I was coordinating the worship. And really, I love the Church of God, but it always has appalled me that we seem to have all kinds of energy for these meetings, but it's really hard to get people together sometimes to pray, to serve their community, to do a church work bee, things like that. But we all show up at these meetings. But this meeting was fine. It was great. Nothing bad happened. Everyone was sweet and loving and kind, and the leadership was awesome, and it's good. But I wondered, is it like a PTSD in me that was rebelling and pushing against this? I don't know. If you have some insight, let me know. So, yeah, unexplained anger. So I wasn't planning to talk about that today, but it was just obviously kind of fresh in my mind. And I thought, maybe if I talk it through with you, I'll get some insight, or at least get it out of my system. But it was embarrassing. You know what? I came in there And I actually said, I don't want to be here, or something to that effect, after everyone was clapping for us. And it's so embarrassing now. But I was that mad. I was that mad that it overrode all of my, personal boundaries, all of my people-pleasing ways. And I was just ready to, I don't know what. Life is funny sometimes. Well, what else did I want to talk about? God's answers to prayer. How God has answered prayer. I've been praying hard, and I think last time I shared that I was planning to fast and pray and fast from playing games on my phone. Well, I've slipped up and played games on my phone in the night. When I wake up in the night and I can't sleep, I don't feel quite as bad about that, because it's really hard for me to get back to sleep. And for some reason, like focusing on some mindless game for a while, like helps me to get back to sleep. So TMI, whatever. But I've been writing out my prayers, pouring out my heart to God much more than I was before. And He has heard and He has answered. And in the most beautiful way, I have realized that the peace and the joy is not on the other side of getting that prayer answered. Sure, there's like a flood of relief when things go like you were praying for, where there's a breakthrough. But it definitely, isn't about getting the answers. That's so temporary. The answers are temporary, because all of a sudden, in the next 5 minutes, you could have another big problem, a greater problem. And I saw that as well, right? With like on this side, things were working out okay or getting better. And on this side, there was like something else, a shoe dropped, and got some hard news. And so I was thinking about how beautiful it is that God meets us in the middle of what we need, and His presence is what gives us peace. The relationship with Him is what gives us joy, even when at the same time we're experiencing sadness or loss or terrible anxiety about something. And I think that's the most beautiful gift, and it's something that can never be taken away from us, is the love of God, right? Like Romans 8 says, neither depth nor height nor things in heaven nor things on earth or things to come. I forget how it goes, but that love from God, that relationship, that care, knowing Him, trusting His love, is what will get us through everything. And even when we can't feel that and we're just in an awful state of angst and worry, just knowing that He's there, and that even when the worst happens, nothing can separate us from His love and knowing Him. And that has been, even in this short time, that has been the biggest gift. It's something I knew theoretically, but it took me actually spending the time, pouring out my heart, imagining that the worst, has happened, and realizing that even then, He was going to give me enough light for the next step and the next step. So that has been really encouraging to my heart. And I know how fickle the human heart is. Tomorrow I might be like, all is lost, right? That's how we are as humans. But it has been a sweet thing. So I'm grateful for that. The treasure is Him. The peace is in relationship to Him, not in getting to the other side, not in getting what we want, God did not put us on earth to get what we want. Yes, he knows the desires of our heart. He wants to give us good things. But that's not his whole purpose for us. His purpose for us is to know him. So I'm grateful for that. What else is going on? Well, I've gone on here pretty long, so I should wrap up. Lessons are going pretty good. I'm starting a practice challenge, like a contest. I have prizes I'm going to give out. I'm dealing with unpaid fees. I'm dealing with lesson books that I lent out that have been essentially stolen. And just trying to figure out how to deal with that. Anyway, that's something you can pray about if you're praying. But the main thing is that I've noticed with the teaching is that I'm doing the same thing in a lot of ways that I did when I was teaching high school. Yes, it's about the content. Yes, it's about learning to play, sing, all the things. But so many of these students need encouragement. They need someone to believe in them. They need someone to talk to. And I always ask them, how was your day? How was school? Was there something fun you did at school? And a lot of times they'll pour out their hearts to me, or they'll tell me something that's like a big fear. Or, last night a little girl's telling me that she has this huge fear of getting on the airplane. When they're gonna go to Disney World for spring break. So exciting, but she's terrified of getting on the plane. So I got to share with her and just try and encourage her. And that's really cool, right? Maybe that's why I'm doing the lessons. Maybe it's not about the piano playing at all, or the singing. So that was cool to realize, like, I'm still encouraging kids and I'm still making a difference, I think is what was brought home. So, well, I better let you go, as they say. I have been babbling on here for a good long time, and thank you for listening if you made it this far. I hope you had a good cup of coffee. I hope you had a good cup of tea, or whatever you like, and I am so glad that we got to have this little conversation. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye.